We all know Spider-Man as the world's most beloved hero. He swings, he fights, he cracks jokes, he beats the bad guy. But here's the thing nobody really talks about. This guy has died. A lot. And not in normal ways either. His best friend stole his body and left him to die inside a rotting corpse. He crumbled into dust in the arms of the man he looked up to most. He got beaten to death with a rock. Yeah, an actual rock. So today, we're going through every villain who managed to beat Spider-Man, and in a lot of these cases, straight up kill him. And I'm gonna jump around comics, movies, games, alternate universes, all mixed together, so you honestly won't know what's coming next. Real quick before we start, if you enjoy this kind of deep Spider-Man stuff, hit subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel grow. And drop a comment right now. Which villain do you think hit Spider-Man the hardest? Let's get into it. Let's start with the most famous one, Doctor Octopus. This is the death that broke comic fans in half. In Amazing Spider-Man #700, back in 2012, Doc Ock was dying. His body was completely failing him, so he pulled off the coldest move imaginable. Using his technology, he swapped minds with Peter Parker. So now Peter is trapped inside Ock's broken, dying body, and Ock is walking around in Peter's healthy one, and Peter dies, in his enemy's body, as Otto Octavius. Just sit with how horrifying that is for a moment, dying in the wrong body, while the man who beat you gets to live on wearing your face, your life, your loved ones. Now here's the part that actually gets me. Right before he passed, Peter forced Ock to relive all of his memories, everything that made him a hero. And it worked. Ock felt it. He swore to become a better Spider-Man than Peter ever was, and took up the mantle as the superior Spider-Man. So Spider-Man died, but the mask kept going. Wild way to kill off your main character, honestly. Now jump to the big screen, Thanos. You knew this one was coming. End of Infinity War, Thanos snaps his fingers, half the universe turns to dust, and Peter Parker was one of them. But this wasn't some quick, clean disappearance. Peter could feel it happening. He got scared. He stumbled into Tony Stark's arms and said the line that wrecked an entire generation of moviegoers. "Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good." And then he was gone, crumbling into ash, right in front of the man who was basically his father figure. People sobbed in theaters over this. Technically it's a death, and it's easily one of the most gut-wrenching ones on this whole list. Okay, now to a video game most people forgot about, Anti-Venom. There's a game called Spider-Man: Edge of Time, and the entire plot is literally built around Spider-Man's death. Here's the setup. A villain from the future named Walker Sloan messes with the timeline, and he brainwashes Eddie Brock, Anti-Venom, planting mind control chips in his head to turn him into a weapon. And here's what makes it genuinely tragic. Eddie doesn't want to do it. He fights it the whole time. He's literally begging Peter to run, to stay away, so he won't be forced to hurt him. But the control takes over, and Anti-Venom drains Peter's powers until he's beaten. Spider-Man 2099, Miguel O'Hara, spends the entire game racing through time trying to undo it. So yeah, this whole game is basically one long mission to bring Spider-Man back. Kind of a cool concept when you think about it. Alright, back to the comics, and this one's a nightmare. Morlun. If you've watched my stuff before, you know I think Morlun is the scariest villain Spider-Man has. He's an ancient, near-immortal predator who hunts spider people across every universe and drains their life force. And in the story called The Other, back in 2005, he cornered Peter and just brutalized him. It was savage. Peter lost that fight, and he lost his life. But, and this is the pattern with Spider-Man, he didn't stay gone. He came back out of a cocoon, reborn with brand new abilities, organic webbing, night vision, stronger than before. Morlun showed him the edge of death and accidentally made him more powerful. Whoops, quick pause. Be honest with me. Are you surprised how many times this guy has actually died? Because when I was researching this, even I lost count. Drop your reaction in the comments. And if you're enjoying this, smash that like button. It really does help. Now here's a heartbreaker from the comics. The Ultimate Green Goblin. So in the Ultimate Universe, a different reality, Peter Parker was still just a teenager, 16 years old. And in Ultimate Spider-Man #160, he had the worst day imaginable. First, he jumped in front of a bullet to save Captain America, so he's already shot, already bleeding. Then he gets home and finds the Sinister Six waiting for him at his own house. He fights them anyway, to protect his family, and he manages to take down the Green Goblin by smashing him with a truck. But the explosion, on top of that bullet wound, was too much, and Peter died right there on his front lawn, in the arms of Mary Jane and his Aunt May. His last words were basically, "It's okay, I did it, I saved you." And the reason this death mattered so much, a kid named Miles Morales was watching, and it inspired him to become the next Spider-Man. So even this one, as devastating as it was, created something beautiful. Back to the movies for a second. Kingpin. In Into the Spider-Verse, the very first few minutes, we meet the original Peter Parker of that universe. The blonde, experienced veteran Spider-Man, and Kingpin, this absolute mountain of a man, crushes him with his bare hands. Just like that, that world's Spider-Man is gone. And that single death is the entire reason the movie exists, because with Peter gone, Miles Morales has to step up and become the Spider-Man his city needs. Cinematically, it's one of the most important deaths on this list, because without it, there's no Spider-Verse at all. Alright, we're past the halfway point, and this is where things get really weird and honestly kind of messed up. These next ones are the deep cuts most people have never even heard of. Stick with me. Let's talk about the dumbest death on this list, Taraxia. Okay, so this one, looking back at it now, is genuinely kind of ridiculous. In the Infinity Gauntlet comic, Thanos has basically become a god. He's got all the Infinity Stones, and to impress Death, the woman he's obsessed with, he creates himself a companion named Taraxia. Now all the heroes charge in for the final battle against an all-powerful Thanos, and how does Spider-Man, one of Earth's greatest heroes, go out? Taraxia hits him in the head with a rock. The guy survives radioactive monsters and symbiotes and mad scientists, and he gets taken out by a lady with a rock while fighting literally the most powerful being in the universe. She even showed the bloody rock to Thanos as proof. Thankfully, Nebula later grabbed the gauntlet and rewound time, undoing the whole thing. But still, a rock, man. Come on. Now two alternate universe ones that go dark, Deadpool and the Punisher. In an alternate reality story called Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, realizes he and everyone else are fictional characters, and completely loses it. He decides to end everyone, heroes included, and he gets Spider-Man too, shooting him at close range from under the chin. Cold. And here's a dark little bonus. In a totally separate Spider-Man Deadpool comic, Deadpool was actually hired to kill Peter, shot him in the head, then realized Peter wasn't evil, brought him back to life through his connection with death, and then, get this, shot him a second time just to be sure, then brought him back again. This guy killed Spider-Man twice by accident basically, only Deadpool. Then there's Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, another what-if story. In that one, Frank Castle lost his family in the crossfire of a superhero battle, so he swears revenge on every powered person alive. He takes down Spider-Man with a dose of poison gas and a bullet. Both of these hit the same theme, a dark world where the heroes lose, and there's nobody left to stop the guy with the guns. Not exactly feel-good stuff, but fascinating. And here's one from an X-Men crossover, Kulan Gath. This is a super old, super forgotten one. In a classic X-Men and Spider-Man crossover, an evil ancient sorcerer named Kulan Gath turned all of Manhattan into a prehistoric fantasy world. Magic, swords, the whole thing. And in that twisted reality, he captured Spider-Man and slowly killed him with his sorcery. The only reason it didn't stick is that time got reset at the end, erasing the whole event. But for a moment there, an evil wizard straight up took out Spider-Man with magic. You don't see that every day. Now the game fans have been waiting for, Kraven. Kraven the Hunter has a special place when it comes to beating Spider-Man. In the legendary comic Kraven's Last Hunt, he defeated Peter, buried him, and then wore his costume and became Spider-Man himself for 2 whole weeks. He beat Peter physically and mentally, which almost nobody does. And in the recent PlayStation game Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Kraven came to New York hunting the greatest predators on Earth, tearing through villain after villain. Kraven isn't really about killing Spider-Man, he's about breaking him, proving he's the better hunter, and that's what makes him so dangerous. And now, the darkest one I saved for last, Poison. In a what-if story based on the other, everything plays out the same at first. Morlun kills Peter, but this time, Peter refuses to come back. He rejects the resurrection, and in that moment of weakness, the leftover remains of the Venom symbiote latch onto his lifeless body and merge with it, creating a brand new, horrifying creature called Poison. So Peter Parker's body gets up and walks again, but his mind, his soul, everything that actually made him Peter, is gone forever. Think about how bleak that actually is for a second. It's not just that he died, it's that the one thing that always saved him, his refusal to give up, his choice to keep going, got turned against him. His body became a weapon for the very thing he spent his life fighting, and that's what makes this the most permanent death on the whole list. In every other story, Peter came back somehow, but here, there was nothing of Peter left to come back, just a monster wearing his shell. So here's the thing about Spider-Man. Look at this list. His body stolen, snapped to dust, beaten with a rock, hunted across dimensions, erased by magic, dissolved into a monster. This guy has been through every kind of ending you can imagine. But you know what the real story is here? He always comes back, or someone he inspired, a Miles Morales, picks up the mask and carries it forward. And maybe that's the whole point. You can kill Peter Parker 100 different ways, in 100 different worlds, but you can't kill Spider-Man, because Spider-Man was never really about one guy who never loses. It's about a guy who loses everything, over and over, and gets back up every single time. So tell me down below, which of these deaths hit you the hardest, and which one did you think was just straight up ridiculous? Be honest, was it The Rock? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe so we can keep this spider family growing, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there.